the president's son calls this country a third world shithole because he doesn't like the verdict. Is that what you'd call this decision by 12 Americans, just like you or me?
No, I'd call, without any question, Abby, this is the weaponization of the justice system against their political opponent. This is a justice system that hunts Republicans while protecting Democrats. This was certainly a hoax, a sham. This was devastating for the average American watching. It's one of the reasons why Americans, and frankly, even some of your viewers, are going to DonaldJTrump.com to actually invest in the future of this country and to protect our American legal system against this kind of travesty of
Senator,
justice. It is a hard day for the American people. And frankly,
Senator, what evidence do you have that the justice system, that's a pretty broad assertion, the justice system is hunting Americans? What evidence is there of that?
Hunting, very clearly, hunting Republicans, not just everyday Americans,
so
but
what's
conservative Americans.
The evidence of that?
Let me give you example one is when you see a SWAT team come into a pro-life activist home with their weapons drawn. That one situation actually echoed throughout this entire nation, and we saw person after person saying, wait a second, you mean a person in their own home, not committing a crime, just trying to serve breakfast, finds himself with guns drawn on him.
But what does that have to do with, Senator, with President Trump?
Naming
Senator,
parents. You asked me to give you examples.
So I hear that example, but I just want to follow up here because this is about President Trump being...
Let me give you a second example.
Well, let me just ask you. This is about President Trump.
You don't really want examples
trial.
Because this is pervasive through our system.
You're using Donald Trump as an example of how he is a case study in how the quote unquote justice system is going after Republicans. But in this particular case, he was tried just like any other person for an allegation, and a jury, not a judge, not a prosecutor, not Joe Biden, not the attorney general, a jury of 12 Americans found him to be guilty. So how is that the justice system not working the way it's supposed to?
Well, Abby, I appreciate your tone and your tenor. The problem is, of course, that when you have a jury made up of 96% of Manhattan are Democrats, they've already said most of them don't like Donald Trump. So when you find yourself in a justice system where the jury aren't people that are actually objective and open-minded, but people who've made up their decisions before the case starts.
They just happen to live in New York, which is where the crime was allegedly committed.
They question the results. They question the results of the justice system. Everyday Americans all across this country, even the never Trumpers, are now calling and joining the team. Donors who sat on the sideline are now joining the team because November 5th is a day of reckoning, and America will be spoken, will be heard. Our voices will be heard loud and clear, and I can guarantee you that the American people, we the people, will be on the side of Donald Trump. November 5th is a day of reckoning.
I want to ask you about this comment from a prominent Republican commentator, Sean Davis. He wrote this after the jury convicted Trump. Quote, in 2016, the presidential race was decided based on candidates releasing lists of potential Supreme Court nominees. In 2024, I want to see lists of which Democratic officials are going to be put in prison. Are you willing to say that this is something, that idea of drawing up lists of potential enemies for a future Trump administration, that's something that you would not support?
Abby, is clear. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. We'll leave that there. The best way of making this world even is success is the best revenge. Let's win. Let's win and let's govern objectively. Let's show the American people that choosing Donald Trump as your next president will present a few outcomes without question. Number one, a secure border. Number two, the economy with low inflation. Number three, a justice system with Lady Justice wearing a blindfold. And number four, eliminating the rampant violence running through the city of New York and through big blue cities. If we can have 4 more years under Donald Trump of low inflation, a secure border, peace and security, and frankly, prosperity for the poorest Americans. That kind of success will breed even more success, and we will find our nation coming together, united.
So
that's the goal,
So
the
when
mission,
President
and
Trump,
the vision
when
of the
former
GOP.
President Trump says that if he is elected president, he would appoint a special prosecutor to, quote, go after the most corrupt president in the history of the United States of America, Joe Biden, and the entire Biden crime family, are you saying that that is not something that you would support?
I'm simply saying that President Trump has said it himself. The best revenge is success.
Actually,
That is the best
Senator,
revenge.
I have to
It is
correct you on
succeed.
that because
I-
he's
I'm tell- I was
explicitly
in
said.
the room. No, you can't correct me on
I'm
Saturday.
looking at the
I can
notes right
only
here.
tell you
He
what
has
I've heard
explicitly
with
said
my own- you can
that
look at the
they
notes. I
they
was actually
did it.
in
He
his
said,
presence
okay,
when he said it
Senator,
himself.
he said it publicly. They
We
did
can
it to
debate
me,
this issue.
so we
can
have
debate
to
this issue
do
if you
it
want
to them.
I'm happy to debate it.
He said they did it to me, so they have
Bottom
to
line-
do it to them. Do you support that?
Abby, I know you are. This is why the ratings on CNN are so low. The bottom line is simply this. Without question, President Trump has looked me in my eyes in a room full of other folks and said, you know what? The best revenge is success. Let's not make this about
Senator,
just Donald Trump.
he may have
Let's
said
make
that
this
to
about
you in a
every
private
single
room, but he
American.
has said it to
I'm just
thousands of his supporters that he plans to go after his
he has
political
said it
enemies.
on-
I don't understand
on
how you can
network after
deny that
network.
he has said that publicly. It's in the public record.
I don't know how you will not take my own word for what I heard with my own ears. And what he
only
said on
because
television
he said
station
the exact
after television station.
opposite.
I hear you.
He said the exact opposite publicly for millions of people to see on television. He has tweeted it. He said it on the
Abby,
radio.
you-
He has said
this-
they've gone after me,
this
so
is
I'm going to go
why
after them.
you
You
So
can just
many
answer the
people
question. If he
wonder
said
why.
that, would you support that?
I have answered the question. You don't like my answer, but I've already answered the question. But here's the bottom line is this. I'm not sitting here to debate you about what you heard Donald Trump say versus what I heard Donald Trump say. Here's what I can tell you. What's not debatable is the fact that African-American unemployment hit the lowest level in the history of the country under Donald Trump. What's not debatable is that HBCU saw the greatest funding increase under Donald Trump and made it permanent. What is not debatable is that our borders were more secure under Donald Trump than the 10 million illegal immigrant invasion that we've seen under Joe Biden. What is completely not debatable is that African Americans, Hispanics, Native Americans, women, and the majority population are all flocking towards Donald Trump. Why? Two big reasons: jobs and justice. This two-tiered justice system is driving more voters towards Donald Trump.
So,
this
Senator,
is not debatable.
you have
These are
said-
simple facts.
Senator,
and we can
you've
talk
said
about
that the
all
Department
the other
of
issues if you want
Justice-
to, but these are the issues that the American people are looking at in order to make their decision in November.
Senator, you've said that the justice system is hunting Republicans. Bob Menendez is
Yes.
right now, as we speak, on trial in New York. The Democratic Party's own senator is being tried by the Democratic president's Justice Department. The president's own son is about to stand trial as well. Henry Cuellar, another Democrat, he was also charged. How do you explain that if this is somehow a system that only targets Republicans?
I have not heard you talk about a single conviction whatsoever. But what we can say is that the treatment of Republicans and conservatives, we know without question the financial footprint under the Department of Treasury has used key words to point out when conservatives are transacting business. We know that because I'm the leading Republican on the banking committee, and we've seen it, we've exposed it. And so what we're seeing in this administration, without question, from a financial perspective, we saw it under President Obama when the IRS actually targeted conservative organizations, religious organizations. For what purpose? To weaponize the institutions of power against political opponents. This is not a new game plan. This is reverting back to an old game plan. And so I'm telling every single person who will listen that yes, you will have a chance to be heard and to be seen. That day is November the 5th.